Welcome into Checkpoint XP, your home for esports and gaming. Joining us now is Mathieu Côté. He's the game director on Dead by Daylight. Mathieu, thank you so much for joining us here today on Checkpoint.
It's my pleasure.
So for those unfamiliar with the game, Dead by Daylight is a multiplayer 1v4 survival horror game where one player takes the role of a savage killer and four other players play as the survivors trying to escape. So you and the Dead by Daylight team have developed an amazing relationship with the players. They're truly passionate and opinionated, for better or worse. Has this relationship influenced character releases or decisions that you guys have made about the game?
Every single day since launch. Yes, absolutely. Seriously, it's one of the lessons I think we learned very early on. As soon as we launched the game, it wasn't just ours anymore. It became something bigger, and the community is part of the dev team to a certain extent. Obviously, we need to filter its feedback somehow, but overall, we try to keep a channel of communication that's as transparent as possible. It's important, and I think it's part of the success of the game.
Now, recently the game added Ghostface. You guys got Ash from Evil Dead, as well as characters from Stranger Things. And now you have a character that's been developed from the Japanese culture specifically for Dead by Daylight, the Ani. Do you guys find it more exciting to develop existing licensed pop culture characters, or to create like an original character from like mythology?
It's really a tough question, but because they're so different. Creating a relationship, a partnership with an external licensor, working on an established license, most of the time these are like legends of the past that we grew up with. When we're talking about Halloween with Michael Myers or Freddy Krueger or something like that, it's insane, and it's humbling, and it's really cool to be in contact with the people who put that on, and it's a labor of really trying to delicately honor these icons by creating a version in our game that makes sense, and when we create our own chapters, it's sort of where we go crazy, and we can actually dig into whatever scares people from anywhere around the world, and we try to create something that's unique and big and impressive, and something that will stand proudly side by side with these established legends of horror.
Well, until you develop something that like gets me from underneath the stairs of my basement, that's what I'm waiting for from you guys. But you guys have the new DLC coming out, The Cursed Legacy with the Oni. Could you tell us about the chapter and what we expect to see from this chapter? So the idea with this one was to continue a little bit. It's the first time we've done that, where we started telling a story last year with the Shattered Bloodline chapter with the spirit, and we really wanted to continue digging into that. It's just such a rich folklore, and it's a really interesting story that we really wanted to dig into. So it's been in the back of our head for a little bit now, and we decided to do it this time. The characters we tried to create this time are, we always have a bit of an idea when we decide to make an original chapter, and in this case we wanted a survivor that's going to be really badass. We wanted a survivor that's going to be powerful and intense and determined, and we absolutely did that. And the killer, we wanted to create a killer that would have the most imposing presence, and that would give you a sense of really absolute power. And that's what we did. We have a lot of killers that are more subtle, that are more playful, that are more, in the athletic side of things. But this one is just brute force. Oh, and he's huge.
Oh, and the model's beautiful for him, too.
Are there any other cultures that you've explored that you'd like to develop more original characters for? Without potentially spoiling what you may be working on behind the scenes.
I'm certainly not going to give you any spoilers. However, the other example that comes to mind is obviously a Lullaby for the Dark. So when we created the Huntress, we went to dig a little bit into like Eastern European Russian, Ukraine, these corners. We found that the lullaby itself is actually a lot of our Russian fans sort of lost their minds because this is the song that their mothers sang to them as a kid. You know?
Oh man!
So for them, it really connected with something visceral. But it was really fun to go and check what are the local legends, you know, the urban legends, the folklore, the mythology in these regions. And we created a character. I think it's one of the most cosplayed characters. It's also one of the most iconic ones. It's instantly recognizable. So definitely that's something that we enjoyed doing quite a lot. And that's one of the things is, yes, we could continue and do 20 more chapters in the world of Eastern European folklore, but there are so many regions around the globe that have their own boogeyman, their own nightmares, and these things tend to be universal, you know, like the things that scare people in Brazil, if I knew, I'd probably be scared too, even though I've never heard of them. So there's a never-ending fountain of horror for us to dip into.
You're listening to Checkpoint XP Esports and Gaming Radio. We're sitting down with Mathieu Côté, game developer for Dead by Daylight. Is there anything else that we should expect from this new chapter update?
Well, there's a map that comes with it. It's a new map in the world of the Yamaoka estate, because obviously this is the ancestor of the Yamaoka estate. So the new map came out on the PTB. People have seen a lot of it. We'll still do some tweaks and add a few final touches before we release it. But there's already a few good Easter eggs in there that are hidden. So there's that. Other than that, the store is going to be filled with a lot of really cool new outfits for all the existing characters. Most likely, a bunch of them are going to be inspired by the new theme.
Well, and speaking of the store, you've got a big Black Friday sale that's going on. How much are you discounting here?
I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but it's the time to really buy everything you've had your eye on, for sure.
Awesome.
I hear it's the biggest in-games sale you've ever had, from what I've been told.
Oh, okay. I have the numbers here. Just give me a sec. See, that's why my cloud is always with me. Almost the whole store is 30% off. What is it? Oh, 50% off on the characters, except for Stranger Things, which is 30%. Wow. And that's including most of the other licenses. And it's until 11 EST on the December 5th.
Oh,
it's
wow.
from November 28th to December 5th on all platforms.
Wow.
All right. Well, I know what I'm going to be doing this weekend.
Yeah,
I know what Chad's getting for Christmas.
That's right.
If you have a few insane friends who have not bought the game yet, the game will be heavily discounted too.
Awesome. Okay. There's a lot of Christmas presents.
I guess I know what we're getting for Christmas.
Exactly.
Merry Christmas, guys.
Tons of Christmas ideas. Mathieu Côté, game director for Dead by Daylight, has been our guest here on Checkpoint XP. Mathieu, man, thank you so much for your time today.
My pleasure. It was actually super fun. Thanks for having me.